Hello there. So, since my last Magic the Gathering video, I went to my local game shop and bought several booster packs. And today I'm going to go ahead and open one of them. And I've got a hat here to just mix them up in, and I'll draw one at random and see what I get. So they're all mixed up nice and well enough so I don't just draw them in the order I bought them or whatever. Okay. So we will be opening. It had to be that one. Alright, so I drew the Iconic Masters pack. Now, unlike the rest of the packs that I bought, I should say, all the packs I bought were about $4, except for the Iconic Masters pack that I bought, which was $10. And the reason that is, according to the guy at the store, when I asked the price difference, is for both this and another pack that they had, which was also $10, they contain cards that they only re-release every few years or something, or they're rarer types of cards. So I went ahead and bought one of the two, and I might buy the next one next time I go there, but see what I got. Alright, so the first one out of the pack is a blue creature. A 1/3 human monk, elusive Spellfist. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, elusive Spellfist gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. Whenever I cast a non-creature. The guy on the card vaguely reminds me of Kratos. That's probably only because I saw the trailer recently. Learn to see an obstacle from a new perspective. Underneath, for example. And as he's saying that, he's going underneath some other creature. Probably a dragon of some kind. Alright, second card is a red creature, a 1/2 human warrior, Borderland Marauder. Whenever Borderland Marauder attacks, it gets a +2/+0 until end of turn. Well, so far I'm sensing a theme amongst these cards is they get a buff based on a situation. Lady got an eye patch from battle, most likely. Or a rough encounter with a coffee table, who knows. Though she is rightly feared, there are relatively few tales of her deeds in battle, for few survive her raids. Ooh, I recognize the art on this next card. I have a black creature, a 2/1 vampire, Child of the Night. Yeah, if I'm recognizing it, this is definitely several years old, seeing how the last time I got big into Magic was when I was in college, my second college, which was, how long ago was that? That was like 4 years ago. And I remember seeing this card art from probably back when I started, when I was learning in high school. So this creature has lifelink, which means whenever it deals damage, you gain health equal to whatever its current power is. Sins that would be too gruesome in the light of day are made more pleasing in the dark night. The next card is a green instant, Praise Vengeance. Target creature gets a +2/+2 until end of turn. This also has some rebound, which is not an ability I'm familiar with, at least not by the name. If you cast a spell from your hand, exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying for its mana cost. Alright, so if you have 2 green, well, if you have 2 green available and you use one to play this, on your upkeep step, you can pay your other green to pay it again for your next turn. So that's pretty neat. Kind of a low-costing card for +2/+2 buff. Next one is a red instant, Fury Charm. I can choose one of the following 3 effects. I can either destroy an artifact, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn, or I can remove 2 time counters from target permanent or suspended card. I don't know what time counters are, so clearly that last effect is of no use to me. Could be useful if I had a red deck. Now we have a blue enchantment, aura type, Claustrophobia. The art seems to depict a man in his grave. Enchant creature. When Claustrophobia enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So essentially you make one of the creatures useless until either is killed, destroyed, returned to their hand, sent to the graveyard, whatever. They can't use it until they do, or you do, something else to it. Good old blues locking down the field. Oh, this next one is really familiar. In fact, it's in one of my decks. Not one of the ones I built last week. I'll get to it in a sec. This is a black creature zombie, a 1/1. It's Rite of the Precinct 6. This is a zombie card that I use in my Zombie Lord deck that I have built. Rite of the Precinct 6 gets a +1/+1 for each creature card in your opponent's graveyards. Even the lost and undead need a protector. So yeah, I use this in my Zombie Lords deck because it's a low-costing creature that can get on the field early on, whereas most of the creatures in that deck are lords, which cost a little more than 2. Usually they're 3 or 4. So yeah, now I have another one. I don't know how many I have. I have 3 or 4, but now I have one more. Next card is a green creature, a 1/0 cat spirit, Phantom Tiger. And yeah, it shows a spiritual tiger and what I initially thought might have been trees, but now it looks like tall grass. Phantom Tiger enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. If damage would be dealt to Phantom Tiger, prevent that damage. Remove a +1/+1 counter from Phantom Tiger. Alright, so you pay 3 and it comes into play as a 3/2 creature. And you can remove damage from it twice, but if you do it the second time, it automatically dies. Unless you have another way to power up to boost its toughness. Next up is a white instant, Disenchant. Simply destroy target artifact or enchantment. The tools of evil are mere things, and like all things, they cannot last forever. The art just shows a hand like imbuing magic upon some item, which I'm sure is probably an item in some other card's art, but I don't recognize it. I also just noticed that this one has like some text in the corner. Donato 28, maybe it's 98 to represent a year. I don't know. Guess I don't find a scan of it. Maybe I can get it to show up on the camera by my finger. Guess that was just the artist putting their name on their work. Now we have a red creature, a 2/2 human warrior, Splatter Thug. This creature has first strike, and it also has Unleash, which is yet another ability I'm not familiar with. So you may have this creature enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. It can't block as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. Alright, so you can either have a 2/2 that can fight or a 3/3 that can block. The mask isn't meant to hide his identity. It's meant to keep the viscera out of his eyes. Alright, now we're on to the uncommon cards. A white instant, depicting an owl creature shooting feathers. This is Wing Shards. Target player sacrifices an attacking creature. And it also has Storm, which is yet another ability I haven't heard of. Okay. That's what I get for not playing for years. When you cast a spell, copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. Okay, so basically to use its Storm effect, you would have already A, had to have played a card, and B, have a lot of lands available to cast spells because, well, I guess if it's copied, you don't have to pay the mana cost again. Not sure, I'd have to look up the rules on that specifically, but this one costs 3. So actually we would have to have at least 4 lands. 1 to play a 1-cost card, and 3 to pay this, and it will work twice, ideally. You have to check the ruling on that. Now we have a green enchantment, Assault Formation. Picking a dragon flying over an army, simply based on the direction it's heading, and the fact that they're not like pointing their spears at it, it might be on their side. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than power, and it's just the creatures you control. Okay, so for most creatures that doesn't mean anything. However, there are other abilities here. Pay 1 green. Target creature with Defender can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. Well, that's really good considering how most Defenders are like a 0/3, 0/4. However, because they're It doesn't say it switches their power and toughness, it says they attack with their toughness instead. So it wouldn't outright kill them, which is good. This actually seems like a really good card. But then we get to our last ability. Pay 2 colorless and 1 green. Creatures you control gain a +0/+1 until end of turn. So, 2 to play this card, and if you pay 4 more, all your defenders can attack, and they'll have an additional 1 to their toughness for more damage. That's pretty neat. I could build a whole deck around this card if I had more of them. We have a green creature, 0/0 Hydra, Hero's Bane. Hero's Bane enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. So it just starts off as a 4/4. Kind of makes you wonder why it's already as... I don't know. I don't get, like, sometimes I don't get why they make it as 0/0 if it comes into the battlefield with 4 tokens on it. 4 counters. No, this red card says time counters. Still don't know what those are. Anyway, back to Hero's Bane. Aside from coming in as a 4/4, it also has the additional ability of pay 2 colorless and 2 green, and put X +1/+1 counters on Hero's Bane, where X is its power. Okay, so comes in, pay 5 to play this card. Comes in the field with 4 counters on it. That's probably why it is right there. That's why it's a 0/0, and it comes in with 4 counters. So it's a second ability. It makes it ridiculous because the second turn, or depending on how much land you have available, play it, gets 4 counters. You use its other ability, it gains 4 more counters. And if it's on the field next turn, or you can pay another 4, then it gains 8 more counters, making it a 16/16 very quickly. Yeah, that sounds like a Hydra to me. Cut off one head and it keeps growing them. Traveler's Tales claim that the Hydra bite off their own heads to make themselves deadlier. I'd believe it. Ooh, we got a rare card. This one's a land. Grove of the Burn Willows. Bit of red and green. Burning trees. I guess Burn Willows is a good name, seeing how the art depicts willow trees on fire. Not really, because they produce fire instead of being on fire, if you get what I'm going at here. Okay, so right off the bat, this doesn't come in tapped, which is a thing on many lands, but many non-basic lands, I should say. This one just simply comes into play as is, and you can tap it to add a colorless to your mana pool, and the second ability, you can tap it to add a red or green to your mana pool. However, each opponent gains 1 life. I guess if you really needed that 1 extra red or green and was willing to lose the fact that an opponent's going to gain health. Spring is the most beautiful season in the grove, when the new leaves open from their ember buds in a race of leaping flames. Alright. Now we have an artifact equipment. And already I like the weapon depicted in the art. It reminds me of something I used in Dark Souls 3. This is the Temptation Blade. It's even shiny. Holographic. Wow! Whenever equipped, creature attacks, defending player reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card. The creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each card revealed this way. That player puts the revealed cards into their graveyard? I like this equipment. And it costs 2 to equip. Jeez. So they reveal until they reveal a land, and they put all cards, including the land, into the graveyard. Ah. I like this card. I should make a deck around this card. And the very last thing I got was an angel token. 4/4 with flying. Never used angels, so at the moment of no use to me. So yeah, I think I got some pretty neat cards from this deck. 4 of them particularly stood out to me. 1 if only because I've used it before. But the other 3 I could totally see building a deck with someday. Just gonna need some more cards before that. So overall, I like this particular pack, but not sure if I'd really buy it again since it's $10, and I'm not really sure if I'm getting my money's worth out of it. But I'll look into it. So that's all from this one. And the next video I do will definitely be another random pack from the ones I bought. But until then, thanks for watching.